We're crossing to New York to talk to a very good friend of mine. He's a fantastic Elvis fan, great author. He's written a lot of books about Elvis that will really add to your Elvis collection. And we thought we'd go straight to talk to him today. And Paul Belard, welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess normally, Paul, it's Neil here. We normally at this time ask a really hard question to kick off the interview. So, you ready for it?
Yep.
How did you get involved with Elvis Presley's music? Wasn't hard at all, really, was it?
Excuse me?
You're obviously not from the USA, from France. How did Elvis come into your life?
I was born in France, and Elvis came into my life in 1959.
And what do you remember the first song you heard that you thought, "Oh, this guy's okay"?
I think the first song, that's a long time ago, but I think the first song was on what is it called? I think it was called in France Rock and Roll. It was an EP, Rock and Roll #2.
Little same songs are 45. Yeah, the thing that strikes me when I look back on the Elvis history is how different everybody says he was to everything else. Was that how you remember it, Paul?
Yeah, well, as I said, I think on that EP, they had either Tutti Frutti and Blue Moon, and I don't remember the other two. But for me, it was a little different than you guys because I didn't speak English. So
that's right. Don't speak English, and you get a guy singing a wop bop baloo bop balop boom.
that I kind of got, but
because that's actually French. It means no, it doesn't.
But I mean, his voice was really another instrument. Because I didn't understand the words like a lot of French fans, and probably Belgium and Italian, and I don't know what else, but German. But, there was something about him, and I didn't know if he was white at the time, if he was black. I don't think I had seen any pictures. And so it was a complete discovery. And since that time, nothing has changed. I mean, I've been through the heights, and I've been through the valleys of his career,
Tell me this, Paul, just firstly, before we start talking about your books and the history of Elvis, when you look back at his career and everything sort of changed. 7 years, That's All Right, Mama was released this year. What is it about Elvis and his career that we're still talking about him today?
Well, we're still talking about the Sun years. I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, it was what was it? I mean, through July 4th, 1955, and
1954.
He recorded That's All Right and Blue Moon of Kentucky. And, for me, they're still, they're among the best songs that he ever recorded.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? About 2 weeks ago, I played a song by Buddy Holly and called True Love Ways. And really, Buddy Holly was only an artist for 2-3 years that we knew of him. The Beatles only lasted 8 years, but Elvis recorded for probably 22 or 23 years. It gave him an opportunity to discover different genres of music.
Yes, it did. Elvis could have been an opera singer, When you listen to songs like Surrender and My Wish Came True, probably was the first one, where you could feel that the power of his voice.
And the way he could change between, even in concert, where he would do a rock and roll song, and next thing he's doing a country song and a gospel song. And what I like to do with my music, I listen a lot on shuffle on my iPod. You can get a soundtrack song, you can get a gospel song, all different from the same guy. It's unbelievable.
That's right. But that's what he said at Sun Record. I sing all kinds,
That's right.
I mean, he said that from the beginning.
Now, Paul, you've written a lot of books, as I mentioned, and obviously the story of Elvis is part of the appeal of why we're so taken by him. How did it come about that you decided to put some of these books in print?
It started when I saw the Searcher on HBO,
Oh, The Searcher, yep.
Channel he was playing in Australia, but here it was on that HBO. And it was a very good show, but they were talking about his career and showing pictures that didn't apply to what they were saying. It was so they were talking about Elvis in '56 and showing you a picture of Elvis in '59 or '71. So I decided to recreate. When I started, I wanted to recreate his career in picture day by day, because sometimes you can make a book about just one day. There are so many pictures of him, and I wanted to make sure that the pictures were precise as far as the date and the location. That was my aim at the beginning.
Because there's so much about Elvis out there that is incorrect, and it's great to have the books that you've done that actually you can pinpoint the dates and the times.
Exactly, yes. That's what bothered me a lot in The Searcher, is that the pictures didn't fit the context of at the time they were shown.
I think the other thing that fascinates me about Elvis, and I'm not anywhere near as big a fan as Grant or you by the sound of things, Paul, but you look at Elvis Presley and there's a story. If you look at the Beatles, there's a story. But, we've played a song this morning by the Walker Brothers, or that was the original version. There's no great stories around them. It was much more than the music, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yes. But, still, what I like about Elvis is his music. That's the main thing for me. And I wrote a book about Parker, who was his manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because of his manager, we only saw the tip of the iceberg as far as his talent.
We obviously had the Baz Luhrmann movie come out recently, Paul, that was, obviously slanted from the Colonel Parker side. What did you find out when you actually looked into the actual story of Colonel Parker's relationship with Elvis?
Well, first Parker was a illegal alien. Okay. Second, he was in the army, and during the second stint in the army, he went AWOL. He went absent without leave, so he just disappeared. And when they caught him, they put him in prison. And in prison, he didn't do too well, so he went to a hospital. And when he was discharged as a psychopath. Okay? And after that, he said that he was born in West Virginia, which wasn't true. And he was a very smart guy. He was, when he saw Elvis and his father, he knew that he had two guys that he could control.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the problems of Elvis is that he was adverse to fight. He never fought against whatever Parker said was like a word from the Bible for him. Except in a few times, like 1968 with the comeback and the recording in Memphis. Parker was very bad for him. I don't like him. And he stole money from Elvis, and that I don't care about it. If he stole money from Elvis, it doesn't bother me at all. And Elvis was spending it as much as it came in anyway, But the fact is that when and I know, Grant, I know that you like the movies, but the songs from the movies, you cannot compare, There's No Room to Roomba in a sports car with the Reconsider Baby or...
I will concede that, that's for sure. I will concede that. But, you're right. Elvis himself, as much as it pains me to say, needs to take a bit of blame for himself. They say that he one time said to Buck, look, I'm not going to do that movie. And they said, well, if you're not going to do that movie, you're not going to do anything. And when you come from the background that Elvis came from, where he literally had nothing, when that sort of threat comes to you, it's pretty confronting.
I agree with you. That's why I said before. The Parker, when he saw him, he knew that he could do anything with him because he was naive.
That's why he would have had no idea what records were coming out and how much the concert was. He would have had no idea, and they kept him so sheltered that he had no idea. And then I think Elvis actually later in life suffered what we would now call depression. And
well, yes, he did, and that's why he took all the medications. And the Elvis like a challenge. Look at the records that he did when he came from the army. I mean, his voice had been, he was with Charlie Hodge at the time, and Charlie Hodge was also a singer. He had been in a group, and he taught Elvis how to use his voice a lot better than he was using before.
Mm.
And for 2 or 3 years, I mean, the songs that he put together in the 60s, 61, 62, I mean, they're, I can listen to anything that's part of you, or Starting Today, or
yeah, from 60 to 63, 64, his voice was just
Sure.
out of this world. And I mean, everybody knows how big an Elvis fan I am. That's no secret. And I listen to them every day of my life. I can't do without it. Every day.
Yes, I mean, and one thing about Elvis is that, I mean, for me, the song have not, they haven't aged. I mean, I can listen to Loudy Miss Clody, or One-Sided Love Affair, or Trying to Get to You, and I'm still getting the same reaction that I got 50 years ago.
And what's great too is there's young fans, coming up that are just as affected by it as we were, as they are now. So that sort of spells the testament of Elvis's character and his music.
Yeah, that's right. And there are fans that become fans of Elvis after he passed away, and basically they just know Elvis in the 70s, and I mean, they like him as much as I like Elvis in the 50s and the 60s. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about him the way we are after.
Well, there'll always be a father of Elvis on the pulse as long as they'll let me do it. I can assure you of that as well.
Yeah, that's right. And we're all smart guy. I mean, I used to be an engineer. I mean, some people, when that guy put the book about Elvis after he died, I forgot his name now.
Oh, Albert Goldman. Now, I don't know if you ever read that, Neil. That was a real hatchet job.
Oh, okay.
He said that all Elvis fans were hicks, ignorant, from the South. They didn't know what they were talking about. That's not true. I know people that are Elvis fans, that are doctors, engineers, they're lawyers. I mean, educated people,
Do you know what's also great about Elvis is how he brings people together? I mean, I've got friends all over the world. I mean, Paul's an example here. He's in New York, and he's a very good friend of mine, and he's on the other side of the world simply because of Elvis, and there's social events, tours that people, life partners, etc., all because of the love of this man.
Yeah, and I was going to say something. There is that community thing, isn't it? Probably unlike any other artist or band. We've talked about the Rolling Stones and the other big names of that era. You don't hear of people running around going, let's go to a Roy Orbison event. But yet, Roy Orbison was massive.
Yep. Well, we've got coming up in a couple of weeks' time, it's Elvis Week, the week that Elvis passed. They have a huge week in Memphis. They have 50, 60,000 people go there every year just to celebrate Elvis's life. So,
yeah.
And I hope it continues forever. I've been. It is amazing.
Yeah, but I remember when I was still a kid. I mean, maybe 15 or 16. I had pen pals all over the world talking about Elvis. We were. There was no internet at the time, so we had to write letters.
Mm-hmm.
Which pleases Grant because he works for Australia Post, so he would be selling the stamps to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Well, the sad part is the post office also mean I get Paul's books now as downloads rather than the physical copy because the postage is ridiculous. What books are you working on at the moment, Paul?
I'm trying to write 2 books. I'd like to write one about Scotty Moore.
Yep.
Maybe in a little bit in the same vein as.
Yeah, I was showing Neil before. I've got Paul wrote a book about Bill Black, who was the bass player in the original band, about behind the scenes and how instrumental he was in helping Elvis get. And then as soon as he got up, they sort of chucked him to the side. And Bill Black, unfortunately, died in '66 of a brain tumour. So we never really got but he had a combo. They did a magnificent version of Don't Be Cruel. Yep. So it'd be interesting to hear one on Scotty Moore as well.
Yeah, and maybe one about Marion Keisker. I think whatever Sam Phillips is saying, I think it's really Marion Keisker that discovered Elvis,
Without Mary, I mean, Elvis said it himself, I think, that without her, there would be no Elvis. She was the one that recorded his demo and showed it to Sam Phillips. If she hadn't written down on a bit of paper, good ballad singer, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today with an Elvis jumper on.
That's right.
He's wearing an ABBA hat, though, Paul. I've got to tell you that. He's wearing a hat that's got ABBA on the front of it. Not Elvis.
But I mean, going back to Elvis, and that's the thing that you can blame Elvis on, It's that at the beginning, they were just a group. I mean, they were three guys. And very often when they used to go to venues or concert places, the owner was asking, where are the other guys, Because the sound that those three guys were producing was it was more than three people together, when you're listening to it. I mean, listen to maybe not Mystery Train, because I think there's a drum on it. But you listen to Blue Moon of Kentucky or maybe Let's Play House, or I Forgot to Remember to Forget. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's only three guys.
The sound they're able to get out of that studio is just phenomenal. And like you say, you can listen to them anytime.
So Paul, I know the answer if I asked Grant this question, because he's told me several times. How do you feel about Elvis impersonators?
Well, I wish they wouldn't all dress like Elvis in the 70s, I mean, or when he was not too, when he was gaining some weight and all that. But some of them are very good, but others it's just business for them. I mean, it doesn't bother me,
I do need to tell you that actually Grant is wearing a full jumpsuit this morning for this conversation. He looks magnificent.
Nice one. There were some nice ones. There were some that were outrageous, But
I think that's what Neil's. I've often said I'm not a big fan of impersonators, and I don't mind people singing his songs. It's when they come and talk about their Elvis and they made this movie, and no, you didn't. Elvis did. You're just. Yeah. It really gets at my goat.
Because another part of that is, Cheap Trick famously did a version of "Don't Be Cruel."
They did.
And Ry Cooder did a version of "Little Sister." How do you feel about those cover versions? Are they songs that only Elvis should have sung?
No, Elvis was singing a lot of cover version himself. So.
And we've just heard a couple.
It's when they bring something different to it. Like Ry Cooder's is a cool sort of song of Little Sister rather than the hard out rock and roll that Elvis did. And that was the genius for me that Elvis had. He could hear another song and then sing it a little differently. Famously, he did Bridge Over Troubled Water. Paul Simon was in the crowd and said, "Well, I can't do that anymore." Elvis has just taken it off me.
Yeah, and I guess, the other one that a lot of people would associate with as a cover version was My Way. Mm-hmm. He did a really good version of that as well.
Yeah, it was a French song, actually.
Oh, hello.
Paul Anka wrote the words, but in English, but originally it's a French song. Yeah.
There was that was a superb song. That was too, Paul.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, there was another one too. Let It Be Me or something like that.
Let It Be Me, Je t'appartiens, I think it's called, yeah.
Yeah, Je t'appartiens, I think it was a French song.
Yeah, although he had a crack, he took El Solo Mio and had a go at that.
Yeah.
So he took him as well.
Sometimes I wonder, I'm going to be 80 years old soon, so since I was about 10 when I'm 59 or something like that, so, or maybe 12, I don't know. But, sometimes I wonder what is the pull that guy has on me, and it's hard to explain, it's just that devotion,
It's hard for me because I've had family that for instance, I got 2 CDs in the mail yesterday, and my mum sort of looking and says, "How can you possibly buy any more CDs?" I said, "Look at it, it's beautiful, it's good, but I'm sure you've got those songs." "Yeah, but not these versions, It's like, but with Elvis, you just want more.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story. I was in France and I was listening to the radio in the kitchen, and It's Now or Never. It's coming on,
Mm-hmm.
So I said to my mother, "I listen to that song and all that," and she said, "But you have the record, so why do you care?" It's the radio.
Well, I'm glad people do, because I'll be on the afternoon playing Elvis on the radio, so
do it at the same time.
Hope everybody tunes in for that.
So
you're in sync with them. It's like there's the communion there.
And it's the same. Like there was an Elvis movie on TV the other day. I've got the Blu-ray 3 or 4 times, and I still watched it on TV.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, Paul, if some sort of quick answers to some quick questions, if you weren't listening to Elvis, what are you listening to on your CD or your playlist? What's your favourite outside of Elvis?
Outside of Elvis?
Nothing. Okay, easy.
That's the same answer for me.
What's your favourite Elvis movie?
No, outside of Elvis, I mean, I would play. I would play Buddy Holly. I work. I fix old books as a hobby in my basement, and
Okay.
what I have on the music is Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay. Yep. So all part of the same family.
Do you remember Dire Straits?
Yes, I do. Most certainly.
Well, Mark Knopfler, I mean, he was a big Elvis fan, and I think the guy is fantastic, and I listen to him a lot too.
Yeah. No. Excellent choice there. What's your favourite Elvis movie?
Actually, he wrote a couple of songs about Tom Parker. So.
Yeah. Calling Elvis.
He did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another one is about Tom Parker, and it's called Gator Blood.
Yep.
The gator from Alligator. The Elvis movies.
Yep. Favourite one?
I have to mention King Creole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brilliant movie.
Yeah, I'm a Blue Hawaii man myself.
But I like. I mean, Viva Las Vegas. I enjoy Flaming Star, GI Blues, even GI Blues, the Girls. I mean, I like those movies.
Yeah. And this is the hardest question of all. Your 3 favourite Elvis songs. What would you choose if you could only play 3 more? I'm going to ask Grant the same question in a minute because we're winding up the conversation.
300. I mean, 300. I mean, I would say that I'll probably pick up like Anything That's Part of You.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful song.
Maybe Trying to Get to You.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mystery Train. Or Are You Lonesome Tonight?
Oh, you can't count to 3. Come on. Un, deux, trois. That's all. None of this quatre.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there are so many. I mean,
I'll give you my 3 quickly for you, Neil.
Yeah.
Every day,
Yep. Well, here's Grant's.
The Girl of My Best Friend.
Yep.
Just Pretend.
Yep.
And Devil in Disguise.
Nice.
This guy, a lot of fans became fans with that song,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, vaguely in the back of my head, The Girl of My Best Friend. And it was on the radio. I'm probably listening to a show on The Pulse a couple of years ago. I love it. It's really good. I've got to say that The Wonder of You is right up there, and I'm quite happy with that. And because Rob's listening, hello, Rob, the question about, he would obviously say American Trilogy.
He certainly would, and that's something else entirely, the experience of that song.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another level there,
Yeah. Well, Paul, it has been fascinating chatting to you. Thank you for taking some time out of your Friday night to chat to us over here. We do have a couple of people who have said hello to you. We've got Rob, who normally is the co-host of the program, but Grant elbowed his way in today, so he has said g'day to you. And also Alan is enjoying this interview so much. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being Grant's friend, because he keeps on telling us about this bloke Elvis. We should have a listen to it some stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Oh, where can people buy your books, by the way? Is there a website?
No, you go on Amazon,
Okay.
Go to Amazon.com and you can just purchase them from
You got
there.
everything there,
At the risk of promoting Amazon, I think they're having their big weekend this weekend, so you might get on and get a bargain if you get onto Amazon this weekend and buy. Thank you, Paul. Paul Belard, Belard. Thank you very much for your time.
It's a Belard.
Yes. Is that what I said?
That's what you said.
Excellent. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Take care.
There he is, Paul Belard in New York.